In this video, we are going to take a look at transformations and symmetry. So for a function f of x, if we have h is greater than 0, right, so it's a positive value, and k is also greater than 0, so it's also a positive value, we can talk about vertical translations, right? So that is moving graphs up and down, right? Those are vertical translations. And what a vertical translation is going to look like is if we are going to shift it up k units, we have y is equal to f of x, and then we're just going to tack on k. We're going to add k to every single function value. If we want to instead shift it down k units, we would have y is equal to f of x minus k. Right, so plus k is going to shift it up. If we add k to the outside of f of x, if we are shifting it down, then we have minus k on the outside of our function. So that's how we shift up and down. If instead we want to shift left and right, then we will have something like y is equal to f of x minus h. That's going to shift it right h units. So when we subtract h on the inside of our function, we subtract it from that x itself, that is going to have the effect of shifting it horizontally, so moving it left and right. So in particular, it's moving right when we subtract a number. If instead we are to add a number on the inside of our function, that is going to shift it left h units. So up and down, those additions or subtractions, those happen outside of our function. Shifting left and right, those happen inside of the function, right? They're impacting the value of h, impacting the value of x there by adding some number on. So let's look at a couple examples. So I'm going to draw two graphs here. I will draw the base graph. So if we did not have this plus 2 at the end, if we just had g of x is equal to the absolute value of x, what does that graph look like? So if we haven't added the 2, well, that graph is an absolute value graph. So it just looks like this v, right? So this is y equals the absolute value of x. What is this plus 2 going to do to it? So here, if we were to say the absolute value graph is y equals the absolute value of x, we could say that we could think of it as y equals f of x, or f of x is equal to the absolute value of x. And so how does g of x relate to f of x? Well, g of x is simply f of x, it's the absolute value, plus 2. And that plus 2 is happening on the outside of that absolute value. So this should be shifting it all up 2. So if we wanted to draw our graph, we're going to take every single point, and every single point is going to go up 2. And so this graph right here is y equals the absolute value of x plus 2. What is the range of this new graph? Well, the range of our original absolute value graph, of that base graph, that range was 0 to infinity. So for this new graph, if we've added 2 to every value, our smallest value is now 2. Our largest value is still infinity. So this is the range for our new function. What if, on the other hand, what if we had h of x equals the absolute value of x minus 2? So here, we can think about, again, our base graph is y equals the absolute value of x, or f of x is the absolute value of x. So that's our base graph. It's just that v here. So how does h of x relate to f of x? So h of x in relation to f of x, it is f of, we are replacing the value of x here with x minus 2. So it's f of x minus 2. Oh, so that's inside the function. And because that's inside the function, that is going to shift it either left or right 2 units. Because it's a minus 2, it is going to end up shifting it to the right. So when we're shifting left and right, it goes opposite of what we typically think, but we are going to move at every single point right 2 units. So this is the graph of h of x equals x minus 2 in absolute values. What is the range for this? Well, the range for that, it was not shifted up and down, so it didn't change. The range is still 0 to infinity. The y values that we see start at 0, and they go up to infinity. So the blue graph in the second one, that is the graph that we are looking for. The pink one in the first one, that is the graph that we are looking for. All right, come back for our next video. We'll look at reflections and vertical stretching and shrinking. So we'll look at all that. We will talk to you in the next video.